What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Malika and this channel is all about traveling more in expat life, which is something I'm actually very experienced in since I have fortunately lived in 2 different countries as an expat. First Milan, Italy, and now I currently live in Beirut, Lebanon. I have learned a lot from my expat journey and I love sharing it with you, so please subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and check out some of my other videos. I've got my night out in Beirut outfit on right now because I'm leaving as soon as I finish this video. So if you want to see more about life in Beirut, go ahead and hit me on Instagram at Where's Malika. But for now, let's get into the details on how you can actually move abroad, starting with why so many people want to leave the USA and what you have to do to actually pull it off. So why do so many people want to leave the USA, especially now in 2023? There are a lot of reasons to want to get the hell out of America. From our broken healthcare system, complete lack of work-life balance, toxic political and social divides, crippling finances, and outlandishly expensive real estate market, it's no longer a surprise that my generation wants to shake things up and find a new path somewhere else. Not to mention the institutionalized racism that continues to impact Black families and the alarming and steadily increasing amount of violence that happens on a daily basis. It is completely understandable. But how do you actually get started pulling off a successful move abroad and beginning a new life for yourself and your family? So start by choosing a destination. The first thing you need to do if you want to move out of the USA is decide where you want to go and where you actually can legally move. If you currently work remotely and your employer allows you to move overseas and keep your job, that is basically like hitting the jackpot. That gives you the ultimate freedom to live in a new country without compromising your finances. And if you don't have that flexibility, don't worry. A lot of countries have started different types of digital nomad programs that make it easier for people to relocate and qualify for an extended stay visa. Portugal, Spain, Georgia, Croatia, Barbados, St. Lucia, and a whole host of other countries offer digital nomad visas. The requirements will vary by country, but they usually require some proof of savings, minimum income, health insurance, etc. Consider your unique situation as well, for example, whether or not you're relocating alone, with family members, with a spouse, with kids, or a pet. It's also not uncommon for people with disabilities to face discrimination in the visa application process, so be aware of all of those things. Once you've gone over the barriers, entry requirements, visa requirements, and options you have for employment, you should have a pretty clear short list of target destinations, and then you're ready to move on to the next step, which is figuring out your finances. So once you know where you want to go, the next thing you need to research is the cost of living in that country. Look into the cost of rent, utilities, gas, purchasing a car if you're moving somewhere where you'll need one, and then any other regular expenses that might be unique to that location. For example, if you're planning to move through a country that has a high rate of malaria transmission, you need to consider the cost of a prophylaxis regimen for the entire time you plan on living there. You want to estimate as accurately as possible, and then I recommend rounding up like 20%, 25% to give yourself a healthy buffer. Then start planning your savings from there. There's a lot of different ways to qualify for digital nomad visas or long-term stay visas, but most of them have a minimum income or minimum savings balance to qualify. And so depending on your situation, it might take you a while to save up that amount of money or find new ways to generate the income you need to sustain yourself. So consider it a long-term strategy. It's not like a short haul overnight thing. Just stay focused and don't get discouraged. Next up, create your backup plan. So while you're in financial planning mode, you also need to think about a backup plan and how you would handle a potential emergency in your new home across the globe. If you're calculating your startup or relocation costs, be sure to include the cost of not just getting to your destination, but also the cost of things like a last-minute flight home in the event of a family emergency, or things like unanticipated medical expenses. So I live in Beirut, which is definitely not the most stable place to be, so I always make it a point to have funds available to purchase a last-minute flight out in cash if I have to, because of the way the Lebanese economy is. You should also take precautions like registering with your local embassy or consulate so they can account for you and help you in an emergency situation. And they'll be sure to make sure your friends and family know how to reach the authorities in case something in your new country goes wrong. And also be sure to familiarize yourself with local laws. Moving abroad is amazing, locked up abroad is not. Next, you're going to want to start preparing for your move. So once you have your target destination in mind and your financial plan set, it's time to get deep into planning mode. So this part is just all about the logistics. You can decide to ship some of your personal items with you or just sell everything off and keep the essentials. I did a combination of A and B on both of my international moves, when I moved to Italy and then when I moved here. So Anything irreplaceable or sentimental I kept stored at home with family members. I just didn't want to run the risk of losing or damaging something that was really close to my heart. I highly recommend downsizing, but you don't have to get rid of everything you own if you don't want to. Moving abroad is a big adjustment, and you will need some of those creature comforts that make you feel at home. It may add to the bottom line cost of your moving expenses, but just ship the extra box or pay the overweight luggage fees for the few items that will keep your mental and emotional health in check. And speaking of mental and emotional health, be sure you start building your community before you leave. So luckily we are in the year 2023, and there is literally nothing you cannot find on the internet. So research local expat groups on Facebook, see if there's a local chapter of Internations, which is an internationally recognized expat resource center and social hub. Join some groups, post on some message boards, slide in some DMs on Instagram, but don't be a creep about it. Before I moved to Italy, I had already made online connections with several people on Internations and on language exchange groups I found on Meetup. And I actually am prepping for my next international move this summer, so I already joined some Facebook groups and Meetup groups, and I'm gonna switch my Internations membership to that city in a few months, just to get the lay of the land and see what is waiting for me there. And no, I have that set where my next city is. I do not plan to save for another few months, so just stay tuned for that and keep following me for when I do decide to announce it. I'm just not ready to talk about it yet. Next up, you gotta remember to take advantage of some relocation resources. So if all this still sounds terribly intimidating to you, don't be alarmed. Uprooting your life and moving to a new country is a serious upheaval. And doing it by yourself is one thing, but adding kids or family members to the mix can only make it more daunting. If you don't think you can handle it by yourself, there are a lot of companies that support potential expats with relocation resources. One of my TikTok friends, Cara Celeste West, love her. She recently relocated with her husband and child to Portugal with a company called Boundless Life. They specialize in short-term relocation packages for families. There are also programs like Remote Year, Venture with Impact, Be Digital Nomad, and many more. Cost and length of stay and requirements vary, but they do ease some of those logistical burdens of an international relocation. And last but not least, make sure you make time to say your goodbyes. So many of us can feel like we are running away, like we're just escaping America because all the problems this country has, and we just want to get the hell out of Dodge. But there's a lot to love about this country, and the decision to leave it is not a cavalier one. Before I moved to Beirut, I spent my last days at home with intention. I spent quality time with people I loved, doing the things that I knew I would miss the most. I indulged in the fattiest and finest foods this nation has to offer, like Cinnabon and Cheesecake Factory. And most of all, I reflected on what it means to be a Black American going through this intense and monumental transition in my life. You are doing something incredible, so be sure to celebrate that with the people that you love. Plan a goodbye party or a small get-together, somewhere that you love that's sentimental for you, with the people that you will miss the most. Make some memories that you will take with you on your journey. And that is it, guys. I really hope you liked this video. Let me know in the comments if you have questions, if you want to learn more about life abroad, where I lived, why I moved, where I'm going next, all those things. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, share it with someone who might enjoy it and find it helpful. And thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video.